What's going on, Junkies? It's your boy Kenshiro. We're back with another episode of Culture Junkies Live. Obviously, you know what we're going to be talking about this week, and that is the Ultra merger between Disney and Fox. It's official. The deal is done. The X-Men and the Fantastic Four are coming home, but they're not coming home by themselves. Oh no. Alien, Predator, John McClane, and a bunch of other Fox properties, including The Simpsons and Family Guy, they're all coming over with them. So we got a lot to talk about. So without further ado, let me introduce who's going to be on the show with me today. The great Daidakuji. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty good as far as I can tell. And you?
Not bad.
Shall we play a game?
Fallen Marvel, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm doing rather well today, so a lot to talk about, a lot to sink our teeth into, so I'm ready.
And last but not least, Super Nerd Plus, what's up, bro?
Hey, what's up?
That's all you guys say?
Well, you know, I hate my neighbor.
Okay.
Yeah, my neighbor is making kind of noises, but you know, life is good.
All right. All right then. So we all got our crosses to bear, but welcome back into the show. We hope you all had a fantastic weekend out there. This Fox deal is obviously taking over the news, but we got other news to actually get to as well. So without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and hit you off with a little bit of the fix for the week. So here we go. So you guys remember that whole thing with James Gunn was happening where he got fired a couple of weeks ago. Well, according to Variety, there's growing feeling within Disney that James Gunn might be reinstated as the director of Guardians of the Galaxy 3. After he was abruptly fired from the production almost 2 weeks ago, there's been an outpouring of support from his cast, who released a joint post on Instagram signed with all of their names showing their support. The decision rests with Disney CEO Bob Iger, who is currently vacationing after completing the media mega deal of the century last week. Time will tell what the outcome is here. But here's the really exciting news. Transformers the movie is returning to theaters for one night only. That's right. The HD remastered version of the Transformers the movie is coming back to theaters on Thursday, September 27th at 7 p.m. The version showing has been completely remastered and restored from the original film elements, and it's also in total HD, so it's the best possible version of the film available. Tickets are on sale this Friday at the Fathom Events website. All right, let's get to the rundown for this week. Comics got Infinity Wars #1, following up after last week's surprising ending of a Marvel villain. Batman #52, which continues Bruce Wayne's jury duty and grapples with whether he's going to continue being the Batman or not. Spoiler alert, of course he is. And Leviathan #1, written by Chew writer, by the writer of Chew, which is something I know Super Nerd Plus was really into. I think so.
I was.
Yeah.
Kind of fell off of it though.
Yeah, the game Chasm is out on Windows Media, and movies. We got My Hero Academia: The Two Heroes comes out this Friday in Japan. Hopefully, it will get a stateside release. You know it will. All right, guys, that's the fix. What do you guys think of all that news?
That My Hero Academia movie sounds interesting. I hope that does get a limited release over here. That means they're pretty much on track of doing that, since I think they did it with Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, the last two Dragon Ball Super movies. Mm-hmm. You know, so one can only hope. Like, if they do, more than likely I'll be in there.
Yeah, I would too.
Real release though, man. I'm sick of these.
Look, man. Anime.
A lot of people are like, oh, it's great that it's coming out United States.
Dude, it's niche. No matter how much we like it, it's still niche. It's not gonna get a wide.
I understand. It's a 7th. They claim that it's niche, but
it
like,
is.
Seriously, I think there's enough. Like, for example, the new Dragon Ball Z movie that's coming out, Dragon Ball Super, whatever the heck Dragon Ball movie is coming out. I believe that it's popular enough to get a worldwide release. Was watching Atlanta last season, and they mentioned Dragon Ball Z in one of the episodes. Like, hey, did you see last night's episode of Dragon Ball Z? And he was like, no, I can't watch it because there's a character in there that's all black with big ass with red lips. And my mom won't let me watch it anymore. So I mean honestly, come on.
Well, no, honestly, no, for real.
It's big enough now. My Hero Academia may not be as big as Dragon Ball,
right?
But if Dragon Ball doesn't get one of those real releases, man, it's that.
Now, it would be real interesting to see what happens when Dragon Ball Super the movie comes out in January. I still don't think that's going to get a worldwide release. Because see, here's the thing with that, right? With worldwide releases, you know, would something like a Dragon Ball movie be able to sustain in America for, say, 3-4 weeks? I don't think so. Maybe like a 4 or 5 day release. Probably it'll probably do a lot of money.
Think so. I think it's big enough, man. It's like the reason why Dragon Ball is still prevalent right now is because of the United States of America, dude. Seriously, they've been making Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball started in like the 80s, as you know, probably 84 if I remember correctly, and Dragon Ball Z ended in the early 90s, and it's still prevalent because of the United States, not necessarily just the United States, but North America and maybe Western countries like places in Europe. It's because, of course, we didn't get it all at the same time as the Japanese did, and they are blowing up. I'm pretty darn sure they wouldn't be making the fighting game, the new series, all the games, even from Budokai for PlayStation 2, all that stuff that came out over here, if America didn't have an interest in Dragon Ball Z. So I think it is possible because we're adults now. We first started watching Dragon Ball Z when we were like preteens and teenagers, and we're not the only ones. So
no, we're not. But are we enough to compete like a Marvel and do that type of money?
But no, it's enough to compete as one of any other animated movie that comes out that freaking doesn't get huge wide release. And I'm not talking about Disney and Pixar stuff. I'm talking about there's freaking animated movies that come out and they get a real release and people go see them. But Dragon Ball is that deal. It's freaking popular. Like I remember a long time ago, talking to Kingpin, our buddy Kingpin, and I was telling him, and this is before Cowboy Bebop was a household name, and I'm calling it a household name because over the last 15 or so years, it's been on Cartoon Network. I'm not sure if they're still playing it now, but it was on for an extremely long time. Same 26 episodes. And I'm like, dude, they could put Cowboy Bebop on TV and it would be popular. And he was like, I don't believe so. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure it did. It brought it. I know people who don't like anime watch Cowboy Bebop and they're like, man, this is a really good show. Now, but granted, Cowboy Bebop and Dragon Ball
was on Cartoon Network, and I think that's part of it. I think
so is Dragon Ball, and so is Dragon Ball.
Right, I think that's part of it. But like, will they go beyond that and seek out? Probably not, but they'll enjoy it for what it is.
Dude,
so I mean, but I hear you. I definitely hear you. I would certainly want it to get a wide release because I think we all about the culture here at Culture Junkies. So of course, it would be great for us if that actually ended up being the case. I want to say what's up to all of our fellow junkies over there on Facebook. My boy Madsen over there at Twitch, he was watching me play Star Trek Online last night. So I appreciate him checking it today. Jay Libris is over there on Facebook. So is Marcus Smith. So is Mike Oliver and LGZ, who is traveling right now. Want to say hello to all of you guys. Welcome to the show. Don't hesitate to tag your friends and family and increase the Junkie Nation and get it even bigger than it has been. So obviously the main story of the day is what happened with the Disney merger, the Disney and Fox the Disney acquisition of Fox Studios. So going over all the biggest, all the stuff that gets included, from the TV shows to the movie properties to the IPs to Marvel getting pretty much like 98% whole. What do you guys think is the best thing to come out of this deal? Like all of it in totality. What's the best thing to come out of this deal besides Marvel?
I hope we see Alien reboot. Because that shit's been dead since Prometheus. Actually, no, it's been dead since Resurrection.
Since Prometheus.
Alien 3, excuse me.
Since Alien 3? Dang, dog. Really?
I mean, you know, Resurrection was just a little fun thing I like to watch. But other than that, if you want to get down to like the science fiction horror shit, 1 and 2 is pretty much top contested. You know, the rest of the shit felt like it was just a joke. And Alien 3, and then I heard that they're actually coming out with the original script for Alien 3 that was supposed to have been made, but I guess the writer or director, whoever, dropped off, and then make it into a full graphic novel. So that should be coming out soon, and it's supposed to not be whatever 3 came out back in the 90s is not going to be canon, supposedly. I don't know. So this is what really happened. I read this a while ago because I've been on an Alien kick lately, so I'm gonna try to pick up some Alien books. But I think Alien, I really want. I know they're doing a new Predator, but I mean, I think everybody knows it lost. Well, the Predators, the one with was it Adrian Brody? And
I love that movie. Really I thought that was good.
I love that movie. I love that. That was really good
too.
It was. So I don't know how this new one's gonna take its stake in, but I definitely want to see those 2 properties really get a good reboot. Hopefully, you know, even if it's PG-13, less good storytelling. But you know, we'll see how it goes. Not for Alien. I don't. We know it's rated R, but hopefully.
I'm just saying we've seen what happened when they make it PG-13 before. Like that needs to not happen again.
That was Alien versus Predator. That was PG-13 , right?
Yeah, that was the first one, but part 2 wasn't. Part 2 was rated R.
It wasn't, but it wasn't good though.
Not at all. Not at all.
That was like the only issue. Like for me, like it's kind of piggybacking on what Super Nerd is saying. Like I kind of look forward to seeing, you know, some revival or you know, interesting franchise. I still have to look at a couple of more other things that's like under the Fox banner, because I know there's a lot of things that like even I totally forgot. But I think one of the most interesting though that I would like to see happen is if they were able to re-release the original Star Wars trilogy in their original format. Because
they might do that.
Because all 3 of those movies were under 20th Century Fox, and up to this point all we've ever gotten was the specialized version by George Lucas, which has kind of been the only one you can find. So it would be nice to see if we could get the original format for the original trilogy, but we'll see.
I think they might do that because that makes a lot of sense for Disney to do something like that, mainly because Disney, as GQ always says, likes to make money. Even though I don't see, I need to understand how the heck they're gonna make back that $71.3 billion. Because if all the movies, I don't think it's easy, dude. Because just think about it. Just think about it. If most of their movies, and they release 1 or 2 movies a year that might do $1 billion, they're not making $1 billion off of those because they still got to pay off their debts and all that other stuff.
Here's the thing,
but that's the thing.
How much money he makes.
Exactly. I don't think you realize how much businesses.
Not just movies, parks. They do a lot more
Real
than
estate.
a lot of people give them credit for. Not only that, they own ILM. So
GQ, ladies and gentlemen, GQ. How you doing, sir?
They make money off. They basically make money just by sitting there.
Right, and I did some research. I saw a lot of things that they own. It's about 50 to 60 things they own that's not movie related, and other small companies that they own. You know, it's crazy. So they'll make that back. That's 71.3 billion.
I mean, and plus the way they worked it out, like they still are in a position to where it's still a lucrative deal because of, again, that unlike how Comcast was trying to do it, it's like they didn't just put like all cash up front like that, you know, like, so they're still in the position to make that money back on everything else. But at the same time, the way they did the deal, it's like they're not really losing out on a whole lot because they're still essentially gaining more than what they could ever lose. So it's like that's not even something to really worry about.
Oh no?
Yeah, they'll probably make $1 billion on re-releasing the Star Wars original trilogy in the first month.
Right, and I was just saying that too.
Hey, now what will be the odds, right, of Disney like making a melding of the two, like the original cut right? But maybe with a little bit of the special edition and create another another version of the original Star Wars. Would you be buying it?
I would. Like, I mean, the only thing I would say is if they were able to clean up like some, because like the thing is the effects that they used during that time don't hold up as well now. So the only thing I can say is like if they were able to clean up the special effects, the newer special effects that's in it, and maybe cut out the unneeded shit, then I wouldn't mind it. I honestly really wouldn't mind.
Okay. But GQ, I didn't get to hear what did you think was what did you think is the best thing to come out of this Fox Disney deal besides Marvel Studios? What's the best thing come out, you think?
Honestly, Marvel is the best thing, to be honest. The other franchises that
give me
getting, with the exception of, let's say, Avatar, are pretty much
Avatar?
dead. Yeah, they get Avatar.
But I'm just saying, like, do you think that that's like literally the only thing of any worth to come over? That you don't think they could like maybe pump some life in something that Fox has had that they haven't touched in a while?
They could if they put like a good director on something, but again, like a lot of those franchises, liking them or not, are old and dated. Aliens is boring, has been evidenced by Covenant. Predator is trying to make a comeback, but it is what it is.
That is blasphemous.
No, it's not. Alien Covenant was garbage.
It was garbage.
Anybody that's taught Alien Covenant can tell you right now that was garbage, because it was basically a sequel to Prometheus, and Prometheus was garbage.
Yep, exactly.
I still haven't seen Prometheus, man. Like y'all scared me. I'm scared to see that movie, man.
Listen,
I've still been reluctant to see it too. So
Prometheus and Covenant are the same movies, basically.
They are the same movies.
Oh yeah.
Damn. And it's trying to be an origin story for Alien and whatnot, and it just. I don't know. Was those movies rated R? I don't remember.
They were both R.
Yeah.
Probably for the violence, but it's just like they were missing something, and it was a lot of just dumb stuff that was in it. I guess we just don't really need an origin for the aliens. Who cares? It's just like, okay, they're around.
Nobody really asked for it though, did we? Nobody asked for that.
Look, it was Ridley Scott feeling himself. He wanted to do a movie, and they let him do a movie. That's basically what that was.
Didn't he do the first one?
Yeah,
and if you remember, like when they landed on that planet, people had questions like, why did you have that big humanoid there sitting in that chair and all that other stuff? So there's always been a question since the first one. Is just
that's what comic book
again. Like I said, I have no problem with that, but the story he told was dumb. I'm just at the end of the day, like I said, I always give filmmakers their props for putting their stories out there. But if the story is dumb, I'm going to call it dumb.
I think some of the
and that's fair to do.
Hell, I mean, again,
that's an alien snake. Let me touch it.
Right. We talked about it at length on Game probably numerous times, but it's like, again, like I've said, all y'all love y'all to death, but if y'all ever showed up at my doorstep with your legs over your shoulders, like with a crazy look on your face, I'm not letting you in. I'm not letting you in. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff in that movie that was just like, okay, if you guys are supposed to be intelligent scientists, you're doing a lot of dumb stuff. So
really,
there was some, and let's be real, Die Hard is dead. They can't do Die Hard anymore. Bruce Willis is Die Hard. And he's clearly proven in the last two installments that he's kind of over the hill on that. So they need to.
Let's not talk about Death Wish. Did anybody see Death Wish? By the way,
they'll remake it.
The fourth one,
I'm sure they will.
The fourth one, I didn't think was like all bad. It wasn't great, but it was at least entertaining. Yeah, it was at least entertaining.
I stopped after 3.
But
I stopped after 3. I'm sorry.
But yeah, the thing is that other one, that last one, like that one, I don't talk about that one.
Here's my problem with Liberty. Timothy Olyphant is a good actor, but he sucks as a villain. He played a just generic, boring villain in that movie.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like that was kind of comical, like trying to like see him be menacing.
Yeah, so I'm like, it's like this is Jock from high school. That's all it really is. That showed up and had a couple of computer hackers getting some stuff done for him, and I'm just like, oh, okay. And then Maggie Q, all 100 pounds of her, is not threatening to me, but whatever.
Right. So hey, you know what? Marcus Smith brought up something, right? Remember that absolutely terrible Dragon Ball Evolution movie?
Yeah.
Wasn't that put out by 20th Century Fox? Wasn't that put out by 20th Century Fox? So doesn't Disney technically own the rights to the Dragon Ball live action stuff?
Potentially,
film rights,
not necessarily
film rights, maybe, but we'll see. More than likely, like if it's still valid from that time they did that movie, then more than likely they probably have the film rights for that franchise. So we'll see.
Only thing good about that movie was Chi-Chi. Other than that,
absolutely, Jamie Chung. Whew. All right, so moving on to the next thing, right? So what's going to become of the?
I was going to say, okay, because she's in Shameless. And none of y'all guys out there watch.
I guess.
I've seen Shameless. I know what you're talking about.
I know what you're talking about too.
Emily Rossum, I believe.
You see her naked in Shameless too. So
I would, but still, Jamie Chung. It's all about Jamie Chung. Anyway, so what about what do we think will become of all the rated R movies? We know Disney kind of has a stance against making rated R Disney films, rated R Marvel films, at least up to this point. But I think Bob Iger had a comment and said that after acquiring Fox, that they would actually still remain open to the idea of doing R-rated movies like Logan. So, what do we think is going to happen with like the R-rated films, Predator, Alien? There's a new Predator getting ready to come out later this year. Do we think those movies are going to continue? And as a second caveat, do we think maybe 20th Century Fox as a label company might live on as the new rated R subsidiary of Disney?
That's what I was going to say. I think the 20th Century Fox is going to put out the stuff that may because Disney's not going to do any rated R movies, period. So we don't even have to worry about that because Disney also owned Miramax. They also own Touchstone. And they back in the day, they put out other rated movies. So I think that's just going to continue. The Disney moniker stamped on there, it's going to be there. But then again, if you think about it, they can still do it. No, even with Kevin Smith, that wasn't through Disney. But regardless of that, Marvel is it's Marvel Studios. So if Marvel does, it's not Disney.
I'm talking about Miramax.
Yeah, Miramax rated R.
That's what I'm saying. Kevin Smith was through Miramax.
Yeah, that's how the rated R stuff came out. Yeah. But even with Marvel, why not do a freaking rated R Marvel Studios movie? It's not Disney's moniker on the freaking thing. It's Marvel. Yes, it's owned by Disney, but just like Miramax is owned by Disney, you got your rated R movie. So they could, or maybe they will just stick with Fox. That's what I think.
Yeah, they could do it that way. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it really. I honestly really think it depends. Like, I really feel like it is possible for them to just use Fox as a subsidiary to still put those connected films out, because like granted, yes, they could still put it out on the Marvel Studios and that's fine. But I'm thinking like because of the fan base that they have acquired with the MCU, because again, that's not just comic book fans, that's also a family dynamic too that's brought in with that. So what I think is that what they're going to do is they're probably going to do like either at least kind of make like a separate division, kind of like try to like maybe come up with like a somewhat of a Marvel Knights division, but probably not call it Marvel Knights, which is using it as an example. But they could essentially do that and probably use the Fox brand to distribute it, because I really don't see them just. I still think that 20th Century Fox is still going to be a thing because of the history it's had. I mean, it's still a 20th Century Fox for all intents and purposes is. It was considered one of the big three back in the day. And also it's just like now, because one of the three now owns that one, I still feel like they could still do that and distribute it and still connect it, but obviously ensuring that like, hey, this movie is for this particular audience. So don't bring your kids to see this one. You can still come over here and see that one because eventually they'll pop up over here. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, yeah, I can see him working it out like that. Like, because, I mean, comics do it all the damn time. Why not movies? So.
Well, here's the thing. If you really pay attention to any movie we've seen in the last 10 years that have been from them under Marvel or in the case of Star Wars, you don't see logos on anything. Like, as far as you walk in Lucasfilm, you walk in Marvel Studios, You don't see that much. You don't see Cinderella's Castle logo on any of those movies. The only way you even know it's Disney, obviously, with us being fans, we know who owns it. But the only time you
I mean, we don't see that until like the end credits, basically. That's when the only time you'll see it.
Right. They've always been, and in my opinion, behind the scenes, yes, they're very, very controlling, but at the same time, they're hands off when it's time to put it out there because it's like I said, they have an image to uphold, family-friendly company, and that's where it goes from there. I'm very sure that we might see a Marvel offshoot brand if need be, because again, Marvel Studios now has an image to kind of uphold too, given a 10-year history, and they represent a particular thing. So, in the Disney way of doing things, I don't see them letting a particular Marvel Studios film proper be an R-rated release with a lot of violence, nudity, whatever it may be. I think it's going to be, like you said, maybe a Marvel Knights or something along that line, just to have that separation, even though it's still Marvel.
Yeah, and to me that makes sense. Like I think that does actually make sense because, like, at least this way, I mean, they could still find ways to still do these movies, and if need be, they could still connect it to what they've already established, and it doesn't necessarily affect the image of whatever, because it's like, hey, we're letting you know what kind of movie this is. It still connects over here and such. So it's like, hey, we warned you up to this point. But again, like I said, they could just do that either under another subdivision of under Marvel Studios. That way, that way it's again, it doesn't really sully the Marvel Studios brand. So, I mean, it's so many possibilities right now, man. It's ridiculous.
Well, got some comments. Jay Libris over on Facebook is saying, create a new art house brand with the Fox folks, and do smaller, more obscure stories that are not tentpoles. I mean, that could work. Mattson over on Twitch is saying that he's concerned with Disney having Fox because now they have the right to mess up the MCU. Is there overarching concern a little bit growing because Fox was such a disparate brand that maybe Disney might end up? Huh?
I wasn't too sure. Could you repeat what you just said? He said that Disney's gonna mess up the MCU because
they did so with the Star Wars films, basically, is what he's saying.
They didn't just buy the MCU, buddy. They've had the MCU for a while, so.
But I know, but I think he's worried about it's moving
mess
forward.
Up the Fantastic Four and X-Men by having them
quiet.
Mess it up in what way? You can only go up.
It's like
that's very true.
One of the folk that feels that Disney ruined Star Wars, which obviously most of us do not agree with.
I don't agree with Disney ruining Star Wars either. So,
not to piggyback, but I don't necessarily share that sentiment either. But I think their overall track record has been fairly solid in that direction. So I think we'll be okay for the most part. So speaking of those, how soon do you think we see the X-Men and the Fantastic Four? GQ?
I say no later than 3 years.
3 years? 3 years? Damn, man. No way.
No later.
No later?
That's how I feel. No later than 3 years.
All right.
I think after Avengers 4, it's gonna pop off. Because what I'm saying, they got the incentive.
What do you think?
I think probably like at the end of 2019, we're gonna hear some news. Either in the middle or in the end, we're gonna definitely hear some news about the X-Men and Fantastic Four at some point, or they're gonna be sprinkled in some other series down the road, or they're gonna be mentioned about, oh yeah, there's this new family that just landed, ship got landed because they were out of space. So it's gonna be some kind of mentioning of them at some point down the road. I guarantee you that right now.
What do you think, GQ?
With regards to them potentially, you're saying messing up MCU, or you're saying in the sense of when we're
No. How soon are we going to see them? How soon are we going to see the X-Men and Fantastic Four?
In all honesty, like I think they did with Spider-Man when they brought him into Civil War. I think they've already got plans laid out.
And they were just waiting for that green light.
Yeah, because to me, Spider-Man was literally, okay, here's script A, here's script B. If we get Spider-Man back in time, here's script B. Let's get the reshoots, let's get him in there, let's get it done. I think they've got it that far out, planned ahead, because as they said, there's 20 movies after Avengers 4. You know full well they were like, throughout all of the offices, we're probably going to buy Fox. So get a couple of scripts together for some X-Men and Fantastic Four related stuff. I guarantee you they've already got stuff already on the books ready to go. Just
yeah.
They got 20 movies planned out. I guarantee you X-Men and Fantastic Four are in those 20 in some form or another as, okay, if we get them, fine. If we don't, here's what we're going to do instead. So I think they're already set. I mean, it's just a matter of, okay, let's finish the plan that we've already basically, put out to perfection with these first 22 movies or whatever it's going to end up being at Avengers 4, and then whatever else follows after that. So, I mean, again, I'm not worried in all honesty, because for people that say they ruined Star Wars, it depends on how you look at it. Star Wars in and of itself, original trilogy outside of Empire, was kind of cheesy. If you just really hardcore, critiquing it, it was cheesy. The prequels were all over the place, but the fighting was amazing in the prequels, so I'll always give them that. Clone Wars, Rebels are both really good animated shows. And as far as what they've been doing now, it's like, look, you're trying to move past the Skywalker legacy, because the Skywalker legacy is throughout all of everything we've seen so far, with the exception of course, Force Awakens and Last Jedi. Well, Last Jedi is obviously there because Luke shows up, but they're trying to move away from that. So it's like, you have to understand what they're doing now isn't for you; it's for your kids and your grandkids. So it is what it is. I mean, I enjoyed Solo. I had no problem with it, because again,
I thought it was great.
I wanted to see the Kessel Run, and they showed it. It was cool. So it's just like, I have no problem with them putting out. Now, granted, they've said they're going to stop doing it, but I had no problem with a new Star Wars movie every year, because at Lucas's pace, we would have never gotten episode 7, 8, and 9.
Right. So back to the FF and X-Men, specifically X-Men. Do we see another reboot, or do we think they'll try and salvage the younger X-Men cast, or you think they just completely wipe the slate clean and just start over?
Wipe the slate clean.
Yeah, I need the plate cleaned off at this point. Start anew.
I'm talking about dish Dawn so clean. I need that shit out of here.
Oh man.
It's like, look, at this point, it's like the only thing they can keep around is Deadpool, for obvious reasons. That's the only thing they can keep around. Like everything, because the thing is, this is why I think the way they did Deadpool was very ingenious, because even though it supposedly connects to the rest of the X-Men movies, the way they set it out and how they introduced the characters that were already seen, that makes it completely adaptable to them to transition that into the MCU. See, and like, I think that was genius the way that they did that.
So it's a starting point, basically. I always said that. I said the first two Deadpool 1 and Deadpool 2 basically started points for the rest of the X-Men movies, because it sets the tone right. You have Colossus already set now. He looks perfect. And they already got the costumes ready to rock and roll. That was proven because the name We Shall Not Speak Of director said it wasn't a good idea to have leather outfits or colorful outfits in the original X-Men movie. So this is the starting point. I said they should go forth with that, run off of Deadpool, because basically all the other mutants are in Deadpool's universe. So let's go with that.
Do they pull a Batman?
Fuck Batman.
Yeah. Or do they pull a Batman and and basically milk Wolverine again, or do you think this is a prime opportunity for them to get away from him and really establish them?
Else?
Yeah, or just because when they found somebody else, they found Mystique, and that was a definite mistake. Well, that was Fox, granted.
Yeah,
granted.
Right. They were still following that thing with like going whatever actress is hot at the time. They're still following that.
Can we develop it as them standing on its own? Like do we start with the X-Men already established, like mutants have always been around, or do they or is this gonna be like the dawn of the X gene? How do we treat this? Because we're almost in uncharted territory here.
So it's like two ways. We already said that the Infinity Gauntlet could have done something when he snapped or whatever, or since they already showed this Celestials and Guardians, they can like somehow bring them back or show a full Celestial putting that gene millions of years ago that's laid dormant and is finally being exposed now. You know what I'm saying? You can do it in multiple ways. You can do. We always said you can do multiple ways on showing how they can bring mutants into the MCU. Because everybody know the X gene is dormant until a tragedy happens or something like that. So this could, like I said, this could be a definitely great starter point. And since the Deadpool movies are already out there, it's not hard.
Well, that's hoping they don't do the alternate universe thing, because lots of people's theories are pointing that snap is for real. It's done. That universe is gone. That's just how it is, and there might be some alternate universe on how they fix the story and bring back all the characters per se. So we don't know. And I also heard reports as we were speaking, I think it was in a pre-show, it might have been in the beginning of the show, memory fails me from time to time, that Fallen Marvel there was talking about the Eternals movies. From what my understanding is, that's probably how they might bring the X-Men into it, because though Deadpool has it set up, there's no guarantee they're going to even continue doing Deadpool. I heard they're going to do X-Force, which might be the next movie, which would be kind of cool, but it sounded like they weren't doing any more individual Deadpool movies, and that's if they continue to do X-Force, because rumor has it that the next X-Men movie with the Dark Phoenix, that scary movie with forget the name of it that they're trying to do.
New Mutants.
The New Mutants got canceled. They said Gambit got canceled. So
thank God.
It was never going to see the light of day, like when it was like a year and a half past its original date. As far as I'm concerned, that movie was dead. Like in the moment, it missed that date.
Yeah.
I think that movie. How many directors did that movie go through? I
don't even know, man.
There was 3, 4, I think. I don't know. I had no hope of that being made, and I was just at the point where, dude, just scrap the movie. We don't need this movie anymore.
No one asked for it, man. That's my thing. No one asked for a damn Gambit movie. Nobody's been asking for a Gambit. When? 15 years ago? That was 15 years ago.
That they asked for that. Fans probably don't ask for it, but you got movie execs that ask for it. You got dumb idiot in Hollywood that kept asking for Spider and friggin' and Superman movies. There's somebody out there asking for this shit.
I mean, no, I get you, but you know what? When I was asking for a Gambit movie, when Jean-Claude Van Damme had that mullet in Hard Target, that's when I was asking for it. That's when I asked for it. I haven't asked for it since.
Yeah, he sure was trying to play Cajun in that.
Dog, no, dude, he was Gambit, dog. This was back in the mid-90s. JCVD had the full-on mullet. You can't tell me that he wouldn't have been a damn good Gambit. I mean, he had the looks, he had the moves, he had the charisma, he had dog. It would have just been great. It would have been great.
He would have been better as Gambit with his darker side in Double Impact.
That too. Yeah, that too. Yeah, that too.
All right, whose TV is disgustingly loud?
That would be Super Nerd, who can't get his other half under control. Isn't that right?
Yeah, she's in the living room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I had to do the show on the toilet.
Mm-hmm. In all honesty, I don't really see the need for them doing a Gambit movie. Not to say they couldn't do it, but I think now is their chance to put all the X-Men back to square one It does not have to be Wolverine centric. Does not have to be Mystique centric. Let everybody
start
shine.
with the core five.
Yeah,
core five.
No, hell no, no. We've
No?
already had First Class. Just do a full on, because again, the last thing we've seen at the end of what movie was that? Apocalypse, I guess, was when they had the team in their actual costumes training in the danger room. You don't need to go any further back than that, because it's like that story has already been told in one form or another. Let Disney or Marvel proper do whatever modernizing they need to do with it, and let's get us a good squad put together. It doesn't have to be the old classic one, because again, that book is well over 60 years old now. I'm sorry, not 60, about 50 years old. So it's like 55 years old. So you don't need to go back that far. Nobody cares about Iceman, Beast, Jean Grey, and Cyclops as a team. That's boring. You got Wolverine now. Wolverine is part of the new hotness, and even he's old as hell. So it's like you need to update it. The only way you're going to keep your audience is you're going to have to mix in some of what Fox has done with what's in the comics and blend the two together to get the best of both worlds. Because that's the only way you're going to make it interesting to an audience. That's why I've always loved what they've done with, like, for example, Iron Man. Nobody cared about Iron Man. Unless you were a hardcore comic fan that read Iron Man, nobody gave a damn about that. They got Robert Downey Jr. to play him. They basically ad-libbed the majority of the scenes in that script because that dude's that good, and everybody else around him was really, playing their parts. And they made him a household name. They made the Guardians of the Galaxy a household name. Nobody gave a damn about them until, and again, it's unfortunate what happened with James Gunn, but nobody cared about them. They were not on anybody's radar of, this needs to be the next movie. And now they're household names. I'm sorry, you got people going around saying I am Groot and whatnot. Yeah, and that's to me. If you have a team of people that can do stuff like that, don't try to hold them back into we need to do this. No, let them do what they do, because obviously what they're doing works.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I know we were talking about that before, like as far as with like what would be a really interesting way for them to introduce Wolverine. And I'm not saying like it's like the greatest idea, but I think it would be interesting if they kind of like started off and like introduced him like when he was with Alpha Flight, to kind of like get that jumped off a bit.
Ooh, Alpha Flight! I want to see.
Like, I would think Alpha Flight film would be kind of interesting, and that would be kind of like the way to kind of introduce like Wolverine, kind of like sort of pre-X-Men in a way, because like even in the movies, aside from actually the only one they tried to really do was the Origins and sort of Days of Futures Past, but other than that, we haven't really gotten a really good story of Wolverine before he became an X-Men. Like as far as live action movies go.
Okay, we haven't got a good one, but we've got enough.
Yeah,
Wolverine is my favorite character, one of my favorites. But dude, it was before he joined the X-Men in the first movie. You had an entire trilogy devoted to this character.
I mean, that's true.
He's been the lead dude in basically every single X-Men film, with the exception of First Class. So
yeah, I get that.
We've had 17, almost 18 years of Wolverine.
I think that's enough.
And I completely get it. I completely get it. Trust me.
That's a back character.
That's why DC fails, because they act like we ain't had 30, 40 plus years of Superman and Batman movies.
I mean, I agree.
Other people got to get some shine.
And I totally agree with that. I'm just thinking, like, what I'm saying is that, like, because we know eventually they're gonna put him in some movie in some type of fashion. That's like, because we know this is gonna happen. I just think it would be interesting for them to kind of like show either if it doesn't feature him prominently, or at least kind of gets to the point where we introduce Alpha Flight and then Logan kind of comes along at the end to kind of put him as a piece at the end and kind of let that play out later on or whatever. Like, I'm just throwing an idea out there, because obviously just as far as like a way
to be a back character, that's all.
You say a back character?
A back? No, just like he doesn't need to be a main character. Just put him in the back somewhere.
Right.
You say Batman? You say Batman?
He has to be what's the word I'm looking for? Like, supporting cast. He's a supporting character, not a lead character. At least in this case, like we're leading up to the lead to a somewhat lead character when he's a part of the rest of the team. But obviously, we can still take some time for Wolverine. But I just think that's a decent idea to introduce him to how to introduce him. But that's just my idea.
Yeah, that's a good idea, but Hugh Jackman ruined that possibility.
I mean, we'll see. But because I'm just saying that for me personally, because that, like, for me, like, I know that he dealt with Alpha Flight, but the thing is, that's kind of like a story that, like, I never really got familiar with. And I think, like, as far as stories go, I think that would be interesting because everybody knows Wolverine's with the X-Men, but what about this other team he was with before the X-Men? And how did he interact with them? And what was his reasoning then? And blah, skitty woo. You know, so I mean, I just think like at least a change in atmosphere for him would be interesting. But you know, that's just me.
Now here's a really, really good question, right? Johnny Patton wants to ask, anyone think they can bring Inhumans back into the Marvel Cinematic Universe on top of them having the X-Men? And all I have to say is this.
Are you crazy? Is that your problem?
I just don't think it's gonna happen ever. The Inhumans is ruined cinematically thanks to Scott Buck. It's just not happening.
Yeah, that would be the one thing that was supposed to be interconnected in MCU that pretty much was dead on arrival, unfortunately. Because honestly, this is kind of their Green Lantern right now, as far as the Inhumans property goes. So I don't really see us seeing the royal family anytime soon.
No, they're dead. They're gonna keep them as side characters. So no more Inhumans. They're gonna bring out every other X-Men group out there. And then they even do another official X-Men TV series, not based off the main character, but the other little X runoffs. They probably do that.
That's actually another good thing, right? What happens to shows like The Gifted and Legion? Like, do they get folded into the continuity? I mean, because part of the Fox and Disney deal is, you know, shows like The Gifted and even Legion, and also the network FX and FXX. Both of them are coming over to Disney too. So what happens to those shows, I wonder, you know?
I honestly feel like it's still going to be like business as usual with those, at least for now, because I think as standalone shows, they still work the way that they are. So I really feel like those, at least for now, will still be business as usual, because you can at least still explore a story that doesn't necessarily have to be MCU related and just kind of just let it do its own thing. And so far, what they've been doing with it, I think, works. If they ever decide to do that, they very well could. Like, the thing is, I don't even know like how they're gonna progress it more with Legion, because I mean, obviously, if you're familiar with the source material, we know that Legion is Professor X's biological son. So it's like I don't even know if they've even touched on that in that series yet. Or if they're going to do it at all.
I think they have, actually. I think they did kind of. Well, you know, Super Nerd, you watched the show, right? You watched Legion, right?
No. The first episode I tuned out. I was like, "What the fuck?"
Well, you know what? A lot of my coworkers at work love Legion. And they say it's a really great show. But I remember him, you know, telling me, you know, during the recap of season 2 that just ended, they kind of did. You know, with the whole thing with the Shadow King, they were alluding to Professor X being, you know, kind of his dad. It was like a very roundabout way, so they did mention it. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I mean, the Shadow King is a buster, man. He ain't got nothing else better to do. Mess with poor little African boys,
right?
And shit like that.
Came in and took over Mizunari. I'm like,
right, like, what are you doing, dude? You know, what's your real grand scheme of things? What do you really want? What do you really want to do? Like, you can be a rich person for the rest of your life, but you choose to take over somebody's body to kill the X-Men. Like, shut up. He was a lame character.
He was small game. Like, he really was.
He was a lame character. Like, he could have just been around, just jumping in bodies and being rich for the rest of his life.
I mean, the only thing I would say is, like, because I speaking of X-Men, I actually rewatched most of Wolverine and the X-Men cartoon series, which I still believe is a crime that the second season didn't see the light of day. But I think the way they handled Shadow King in there, I think made him a bit more of an interesting character, even though when they initially showed him like what he was about, did kind of make him kind of a buster, because obviously Charles basically kicked his ass. So but I don't know, man. I just really hate that. Like, I don't know. Like, I actually would be interested if they actually brought that series back and continued like the Age of Apocalypse in season 2, which they originally wanted to do. So
Age of Apocalypse is tainted right now. They can't touch that.
You are absolutely right about that.
Right.
My God.
Right.
No way.
Damn it.
Yeah. It's the truth, man.
You're right. When you're right, you're right.
The sins of Fox still come with the properties.
When you're right, you're right. That's why I know, like, whenever like they finally do MCU related X-Men movie, they're like, we probably won't be seeing the Phoenix for quite some time.
I don't want to. We already had her
We really don't.
Twice.
We really don't, because they've already misrepresented her twice already as it is. So it's like, like, we don't need another Phoenix related story. We don't need nothing.
Absolutely, man. No, we don't need that. Massimo was over there talking about it on Twitch, like saying, like, man, we really need to get some more Jean Grey and another Phoenix story. I want to hope that he was being sarcastic, because there ain't no way. Because, dude, we've had the Phoenix show up in movies 3 times already now, right?
Has it been? No.
Yeah, it's like, because you think about it, X-Men 2, then X3.
Saw the Bird in 2.
Yep.
Saw the Bird in 2.
There was no bird.
Right. Right.
And then in Apocalypse, you tapped into the Phoenix power.
Right, man. I'm like, no, man, no.
Okay.
You know, granted, they've never done the story right, but that's beside the point.
Again, it's one of those things. It's like they need to stop trying to, and I think that's what we run into with a lot of these movies is they try to. It's fine to do homage and little touches here and there to certain old stories, but it's like you can't be married to them old stories forever. Yeah. And I think that's one of the problems. It's like, granted, Infinity Gauntlet is an old story, but it had nothing like that had ever been done in film ever. Like, ever. So it's like, it's fine that they took it, and they even adapted it. They didn't tell the exact story because, again, they couldn't, not completely accurate to who was in there and all that other sort of stuff.
Right.
But it's one thing to go back and do a huge event like that and, do it over a 10-year span. It's another to make every single movie a carbon copy of something that's already been told.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And like, honestly, at this point, if they do make one and they need an antagonist, the only person they can really use like right now would be Mr. Sinister. But he kind of still connects to Apocalypse.
No, here's Sinister can be done, but the problem with Sinister, he doesn't have a good support group. And I think that's the issue. Sinister has always been one of my favorite characters, and his history is insanely complex and cool.
Yeah.
But the problem is, as a villain, he is a behind-the-scenes manipulator because he's not really a fighter. It's like, he has the healing factor and all that other sort of stuff, is things that he can do. But at the end of the day, the big fight finale is not going to be interesting with him because.
True.
Yeah, we all see what Scott did to him on the Savage Land.
Right.
It's
like all it takes.
Yeah, he did.
All it takes is one of Cyclops' outbursts, and the movie is over. So I mean, it's like that's always been the issue with that character. I've always loved the character, but it's like, his whole squad is garbage.
Stay away from my friends.
I mean, the only thing. I mean, it's like the only thing they could do is maybe try to do it a similar way they did it in like the Wolverine and X-Men series, but again, it's like it's kind of already been done because we had Archangel for all intents and purposes in Apocalypse, which was god awful. And it's like the thing is, like, there has to be a lot of character building. Obviously, you can't really jump into that because obviously with like, even though like Angel isn't an interesting character initially, it's like that whole backstory with him and his father and all that or whatever was interesting. But, you know, again, that's something else they squandered with the third movie. So it's just like, dude, they just have so many limited options right now. It's like the only thing they could do is they're going to have to like rely on one of the crossover events that involve the X-Men at this point. Like, I don't
think so. I don't think so.
I mean, I don't know. Like they could just kind of do like that whole like that was it the Magneto and Doctor Doom?
Well, yeah. I mean, well, look at it like this, right? So look at it like this, right? You know, given our current, and this is just me just spitballing, right? Given our current political climate, if you started over at the beginning and say the X-Men story starts out with the discovery of the mutant gene, and we got rampant xenophobia from a Senator Kelly that, you know, is literally just xenophobic and wants to round up all the mutants and, you know, put them in concentration camps and stuff like that. That's literally what's going on in our world right now in America.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
so I could seriously see them making a story like that that touches, you know, all the bases of what makes the X-Men good. It's about, you know, so racism and oppression, you know. A what?
No, even we said Master Mode, but I was thinking like, I mean to cut you off, but
no, I think that's too soon. Go ahead, Super Nerd.
Yeah, but I was gonna say they could even just do it, just like you said, Senator Kelly stuff. But remember in the first episode of the X-Men cartoon when they was breaking into a federal building,
right?
And they can just start off with using that because that's one thing they never showed the X-Men, if I'm not mistaken, in the movies. They never actually showed them like trying to stop an outburst with the Friends of Humanity or people who hated them.
Right? No, they've never done that.
Them getting attacked first.
Yeah. They've never done that.
They never showed them doing actual missions.
Mystique
like,
did it.
Yeah, well, Mystique.
Mystique, right?
Mystique did it in X2.
Yeah, she did. And
hey, check this out, Super Nerd. Jay Leris on Facebook actually said something that I think you and I will both find very dope. He said, "Make an X Factor show."
Okay.
And you know, X Factor with Jamie Madrox, you know, the Multiple Man, and, you know, that one with the detective, and link them up with the Defenders on Netflix. That could be dope. That would be pretty dope. But go ahead, go ahead and continue.
But even so, like, I think not necessarily every X-Men movie, or even if they do an X-Men movie, not all the other X spinoffs have to be movies. They could be TV series.
Right.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Here's the thing that you guys are forgetting, though. You guys are oversaturating the market right now. You can't just, again, you can make some X-Men films, but you're turning X-Men into a big universe on its own. This is going to get folded into an existing property, an existing set of things. Granted, we're going to lose a lot of the original Avengers from, you know, obviously the 2012 film because of contracts, but you're not going to suddenly just switch over to the X universe as the main thing. You still have to operate with S.H.I.E.L.D. being out there, with Luke Cage, you know, the various Defenders and all the other characters that have been introduced. Black Panther is a major property right now. You know, there's things that are going to happen with this merger that are going to make the X-Men supporting, not lead. They're going to, because they're all part of a big, you know, world essentially. So it's great to have ideas of these various overarching things, but they're going to have to fit into a narrative that includes other
Fantastic Four.
You know what?
Fantastic Four connects it.
No, here's and I'm glad you kind of brought that up. And GQ actually brings up a very good point. And it was another question that I meant to ask, but I didn't make a graphic for it. So I'm just going to ask it and let's just discuss it. Marvel is now 98% whole. They have another super tentpole franchise that literally could be its own universe in the X-Men. And you got the Fantastic Four, which more likely probably won't be a tentpole, but will be a very complementary piece. Like, how is Disney going to handle, like, putting out all these Marvel movies that people are going to want to see? You already have some Spider-Man movies that people are going to want to see. You got Captain Marvel coming. You got Black Panther. Now you're going to have the X-Men. Now you're going to have Fantastic Four on top of all of that. So I think the limit right so far has been what? Just 2 movies a year, 2 to 3 movies a year? I think Marvel's done. They're going to have to increase that And then, like GQ said, they might end up oversaturating the market. What are your thoughts?
I think that's fair because, you know, again, like Fantastic Four, I think that's like a film franchise that they can incorporate like with the other films as far as like slating them or whatever. But I mean, it's like GQ has a point when it comes to the X-Men because the X-Men has so much to it. Is that X-Men essentially can be its own universe without connecting to anything else. So that I think in that regard, like it's going to be kind of tricky. So like I'm thinking what will have to end up happening is like some of the other some of the other Avengers related characters who we know are mutants or at least are going to be portrayed as mutants. Like that's going to have to be somewhat of the introduction when it comes to the X gene, like on that front, you know. So, like, because you know we got you know Wanda Maximoff. Like, we don't know if they're going to bring Quicksilver back from the dead. You know, they might.
I hope he gets restored. By the way, I really do. I hope he gets restored.
But like you know, bringing him in, you know, and then you know potentially. You know, just like kind of throwing some extra, you know, stuff in there to where like it could potentially connect to a larger thing that, or just have like certain characters that we know are prominent in the X-Men universe and sort of sprinkle them in with like other like offshoot Avengers characters in a way. I mean,
I think they're going to start with Fantastic Four because they are the connection between X-Men and the Avengers. if you really think about it, you know, the Fantastic Four are really the two connection that connects Avengers with X-Men as far as like switching over the characters, whatever. Because you know, Reed is the scientist, whatever, and
right,
you know, and Johnny knows everybody, so and he's cool.
Right.
He's cool, Iceman. So you know. Yeah, I think it's gonna start with that.
I haven't heard from Daidakuji in a while, but I got a theory. So I'll let Daido get some in there.
Yeah, Daido, what's your thoughts, bro?
Huh?
Daido over there working on. He's about to become Culture Junkie's new Mr. Skin. He over there figuring out who is naked and what.
Yeah, most definitely. It's kind of hard for me to speculate what and how people are going to be brought in because, you know, up until now, they did everything in the matter that they did not have these rights at all. They didn't have them at all. I kind of like what GQ said that they might have something in a script that just, boom, a character walks in and says something important and then, you know, something like that or some kind of fight scene. We have no idea what they filmed for Avengers 4. Avengers 4 could do it. I doubt it, but it could. So, I mean, just me not knowing enough comic book history to try to say like this, and even if I did, I don't think they're going to directly pull from what happened in the comics to try to bring them into the universe. So, I mean, I personally don't know how they're going to see it because, like, right now, Fantastic Four, as much as I want to see a good Fantastic Four movie, which I think they can really do. You got a good script. They can get good script. I think Marvel has the ability to do it. It's still kind of tainted because that last Fantastic Four movie is still kind of in people's memories, and that does hurt somewhat. Same thing with like you said, the X-Men. What was that last one? The Apocalypse one?
Yep.
I mean, granted, most people when they think of the last X-Men movie, they kind of think of Logan, even though it's a Wolverine movie. Not an X-Men movie, so that might be its saving grace, but it's kind of hard to say, to tell you the truth. I mean, I really don't know. I hope next year they start sprinkling stuff in. I don't want it to be too overly saturated, but if you think about it, you're probably going to get 3 Marvel movies a year because that's basically what we've been doing. So I don't know how it's going to be overly saturated. You're just probably going to see every 2 years is going to be this, every 2 years is going to be that, but every year you're going to get 3 Marvel movies of some sort. So I'm pretty sure that by 2020 we're going to see our first movie. I don't think it's going to be 2019 because I believe they already got 2019 laid out.
It's too soon.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It takes way too long to do digital effects for that stuff. So we're gonna hear something next year, most definitely. And we're probably gonna see stuff. I won't say we see something in 2020. It's probably gonna be 2021.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm just saying 2019. If something comes out, they're gonna mention these characters. I don't think they're gonna necessarily be out, like you said, until 2020. They definitely make mention of them.
Here's how I would do it, and this will get. I know Dada Kuji would definitely be pleased with this. I would use Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as your link between the two universes.
True.
Because you literally have.
I would.
Yeah. Because you literally have Avengers 4, whatever. Who knows what the fallout's going to be? Obviously, some people are going to be brought back because again, we already know Black Panther, Spider-Man are coming back because they have movies coming. But whatever the resolution is, you got to have S.H.I.E.L.D. because S.H.I.E.L.D.'s probably going to be coming back. You let Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. go around picking up the pieces, figuring out what the hell just happened. Now, all of a sudden, things are changed. We are discovering that there's mutants running around now instead of Inhumans, because Inhumans was just the stopgap. So all of the Inhumans are now classified as mutants officially now. They may be similar into the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants or something. It is anything to get that seed planted. That way you can work some of the minor characters on S.H.I.E.L.D., the heavy hitters hit the movies, or whatever it is going to be, whatever the crossover is going to be. The movies can easily, like you guys said, bring in Fantastic Four because Baxter Building, New York, they're all in the same general area. You can run into Spider-Man, you can run into these other people or whatever. Black Panther could meet Storm in his film or something. You know what I'm saying? There's all sorts of easy ways to get it done. Because that's how they brought Black Widow in. That's how they brought Spider-Man and Black Panther in Civil War. They were cameos, basically. Now, granted, they did a lot of stuff, but they were still, at the end of the day, cameos. So that's what comic books do all the time. And that's the easiest way to ease this in there instead of saying, hey, Avengers and X-Men. It's like, dude, that's a lot of stuff to try to just throw at. Again, the reason people like Iron Man, Guardians, and all these other characters so much is we've had 10 years to get to know them inside and out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, that I'll give you that. That's inspired. That's pretty good. Using Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to kind of be kind of what everybody wanted it to be in the first place. Being this bridge of bringing new characters in or linking them up and stuff like that. And now, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as a show is really in flux because Coulson may or may not be on the show anymore after the end of the season. Daisy's been put in a position of leadership over, the agents. But, who knows what's going to happen after, the Thanos snap gets resolved. Does magically, does it go back to normal where S.H.I.E.L.D. is over everything, like the protector of the world, kind of like the way it was before Winter Soldier happened? I would love to see that. And then it would almost breathe new life into the show if you think about it. Because then, naturally, Coulson could, fade away. Coulson and that whole team could fade away. They could bring in a whole new crew of agents that, just go around, to the Marvel Universe, different corners of the Marvel Universe. I mean, that could actually be kind of cool, honestly.
I mean, it could be. All I gotta say is if they don't recognize the snapping Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I'm gonna have issues with it because hell,
they mentioned Thanos numerous times. So
they mentioned Thanos, and you were just waiting at the end of that freaking season.
Started
seeing people disappear, and it didn't happen. I'm like,
well, it may happen in 6 though, because like I said, didn't they say it was a tragedy happened in New York? At the same time, a man.
They said something about stuff was going on. So
in that timeline, it can still happen in season 6 in the beginning of season 6.
It just needs to happen. The first fucking episode, you need to see people I don't feel so good and
fading away. Yeah, man.
That needs to happen.
That's what it did. That day wasn't quite over yet.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but it needs to happen.
I think it will. I think it will happen.
Man, you couldn't. The season finale of that TV show could not have showed that because that would have played their hand for what was coming in the film. That's again, that's part of the reason that those always are going to have that back and forth because the film, there's so much money that goes into that, and it's like, okay, if you take on that, that's a lot of money wasted. Now, granted, TV you put some money into it too, but the budgets aren't even close. So I completely can understand them letting their season finale not show any of that people fading away because then it's like, oh great, now I've already seen this. Once you get to the film, it doesn't hit as hard because now the film was the first time you saw it.
Well, the season finale happened after the film came out. So, so like it was kind of the same thing for Ant-Man. Like seriously, you sitting around watching and enjoying Ant-Man, but you're waiting to see, okay, how's this supposed to link somehow? And that's what I wanted. I mean, it didn't even have to be like I'm saying, it just, they could have did it just like how they did it in Ant-Man, just like the last fucking scene. They're around having their drink and just glass drops, and I'm like, that's they could have just did that, dude.
I guarantee it'll be in season 6. Like GQ said, they played their hand. It was shown before the movie came out. They wouldn't do that, so it wouldn't make sense. So I think in the beginning of season 6, they're going to show that, because remember, the time in TV timeline is going to be hours after the snap, because that was what a few days. Because what they said in New York. So you're sort of remember in Infinity War, when it happened in New York, they were just getting sucking up shit or whatever. The big turbine thing was coming down. So Ebony Maw was just hitting New York. So that time frame from, because it was like 2 days later or whatever.
No, like the whole movie took place within the same, that took place in 1 day. So that was like a span over several hours, I think.
Well, no, because remember, okay, wait. So when Vision and
yeah, they were in another part of the country where it was no sun. So
okay. Yeah. So I mean, you want to play it that way, yeah. So it could be hours later. So I guarantee you, season 6 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they will show that or talk about it. I guarantee.
Yeah, it's like I said, I don't remember exactly what day that aired, but it's when the movie,
like the last episode, if I remember correctly, I think it was like 2 weeks after.
Was it after?
No, it was after the movie. It was like 2 weeks after the movie.
Again, it's during the theatrical run. You don't want to do it. No matter how crazy it might seem, that all of us went there on the first day, obviously, but there's people that don't. And
I mean, it's true. I mean,
a lot of money you invested into that to have that impact. And like I said, the TV show is by comparison is small potatoes. So I completely understand them holding that back. And like Superman said, I think they're gonna open up with that in season 6, because that's what everybody already knows about now. It's right. One of those situations where it's even remotely a spoiler. It is something.
It is what it is, right?
Because again, it's about to come out on Blu-ray in 2 weeks.
Yep, so, I already got mine pre-ordered.
So everybody by now theoretically should have seen the snap or the aftermath or whatever. So I think that's part of the reason why you do that. Granted, 2 weeks is a long time, but that's I forgot what the budget was on that film, but I wouldn't even take the chance of putting any type of spoiler out there.
And that's completely fair. I can actually see that, because it's like that again, like that season was kind of like in limbo at that time. So it's like they couldn't necessarily like tie it in with the movies like they did it with the previous seasons, to where it's like, oh, this happened like the weekend after this movie came out. Oh, damn, but, obviously they were on different schedules. So I can understand that.
Yeah. Honestly, a lot of stuff can happen, and the speculation is half the fun, to be honest. Speculation is half the fun, because like the next thing I'm ready to do is let's go ahead and let's cast some X-Men. Let's cast a Fantastic Four, but we're gonna have to save that for another show because it's already past 10 o'clock and we talked a lot about this deal. So we're gonna go ahead and shut it down and let you all get on with your night. I want to thank all of my friends over there on Twitch that are joining us. We're being hosted right now by AO Morpheus channel. Say hi to everybody over there. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. Hope you come over to the Culture Junkies channel and actually give us a follow. We'd love to have you follow along. And join us next week when we do our next episode of Culture Junkies Live. But before we go, right, there was this little trailer that came out yesterday, starring a symbiote, Sony. What did everybody think of that Venom trailer? Because to me, I thought it was pretty dope. But a lot of people are still kind of really skeptical on the movie. Dido, what'd you think of it?
I refuse to watch it, not because I don't want to see Venom, it's because I don't want to be. It's not spoiled. It's just like modern trailers can't keep stuff without. They put too much of the movie in there.
You need to go back and watch some old trailers or like movies. They gave shit away all the time. They did. I guess maybe it's not just modern. Maybe right. I just want to watch the movie. I don't need to see them.
Listen, all that cool shit is cool, whatever, but it's still not gonna take away the movie. Probably gonna be trash.
I don't know. I'm still cautiously into like going into this movie because I'm not. It's like, look, I like Venom just as much as anybody else,
right?
But it's like, dude, like it's still a Venom movie with essentially no real connection to Spider-Man, which kind of defeats the purpose, in my opinion. But
everybody's opinion. You're not the only one.
Yeah. So, but real quick, as far as like to kind of tie back into what we were saying at the beginning about franchises that they now own. Now there was 3 that kind of stood out to me. One was Enemy Mine. The other was Big Trouble in Little China. And Highlander.
Now Highlander. I don't know, man.
That kind of stuck out to me.
I don't know, man.
Like, I don't know, man. I'll actually look forward to seeing a rebooted Highlander.
They could probably actually do it right because you could say your nostalgia is blinding you real quick for Highlander. Most of the people when Highlander movies came out was like, oh, the first one was good, and then all the rest of them suck. So I think they could probably do Highlander and make it where you would like Highlander again.
Yeah, they probably would put that in it for real.
Well, here's the thing: the 4th Highlander movie did suck, though.
It did. Like, Highlander, I didn't understand that movie at all. Like,
because the trailer lied. It completely lied. So that was one part of it. But no, as far as Venom goes, I don't. So far, I'm still not liking Tom Hardy's portrayal of Eddie Brock. Man, he sounds too unsure.
You know of himself, what? That's annoying. Fine. Yeah, that part is fine. But the Venom symbiote itself, that thing is awesome. I love it. It's great.
Hey,
even though
are you sure this movie ain't directed by Bryan Singer?
All right.
Damn, that's cold, man. That's cold, man.
I said his name, man. I said his name.
Yeah, that's cold, man. That's real cold. Yeah, that's kind of cold, man.
So anyway, guys, it's like his MO. He has all his thoughts and theories how things should be. You can't.
I hear you.
You can't get away from the damn not having a spider logo on there. That's just injustice. It's fucking ridiculous.
I hear you. So anyway, guys, we are going to go ahead and get out of here. I want to thank you all for joining us on this really, really fun show. I had a lot of fun. Hope you all had a lot of fun. Join us next week right here on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube, 9 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central Time. I always get that fucked up, man. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just talking too fast. I don't get it. I always get that messed up. I don't know exactly what we're going to be talking about next week, but if you want to know, make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube, Twitter, or join us on our Facebook fan page. We'll be sure to let you know. Any last thoughts before we get out of here, gentlemen?
Nope. Not much. I'm just looking forward to.
What in the hell are you doing over there? You spazzing out? What is that?
Yeah, man, you got that music playing in the background, fam.
You just love the X-Men music. Is that it?
You know what I'm saying?
I hear you. Any last thoughts before we get out of here, guys?
I can't think of one right now. Probably a bad joke. But...
All I know is they better do my boy Nightcrawler justice when he bring him in. That's all I know.
I know we saw him like in that awesome White House scene, and then they just was like, whatever, doesn't matter.
Right. Like that was it.
Matter. Right. That was absolutely that was it. But you know what? I think I might if we're gonna just sit down, and shoot the breeze. Those of you over there on Facebook, if you want to continue the fun, I think I'm gonna fire up Star Trek Online and get back in it. And any of the guys that want to sit here and us just chat and just shoot the breeze, you're welcome to join me. So head on over to our YouTube and our Twitch channel and watch us over there. But for the Great Adakuji, for Super Nerd Plus, GQ, and for Fallen Marvel, I'm Kenshiro. We'll see you guys later. Peace out.
Peace. Don't forget to watch the last episode of Cloak and Dagger tomorrow.
Oh man, that show was fire, dog. I love that show.
Hell yeah.
That show was great.
They're supposed to be showing the Runaways after that too, supopedly.
Oh, so it's about to be over. That means I can binge it, baby.
Well, I've been watching on Hulu any damn way.
Right. Yeah, I gotta catch up for like the last about it's been it was 3 weeks. It's been 3 weeks.
I've been binging the Orville. That's what I've been binging. That show.
Did you know they already got a season 2 for Cloak and Dagger already? It's already been
yeah.